Hey, Sarah. Welcome to
Hi.
Friends of Kayla.
Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy that you're here. I've heard a lot about you. I've seen your work, and a lot of girls in Miami said that I had to interview you and reach out. So
Okay,
thank you so much
awesome.
for being here. The ladies want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. This podcast is about hustlers, Jewish people specifically, who are pursuing their passion. And I feel like you do so many different things. And women in general are such multitaskers. Not only are you a celebrity stylist, but you've opened your own space here in Miami, run your own nonprofit organization, are now a podcast host yourself. I'm sure I'm missing some things. So I would love to have you introduce yourself.
First of all, thank you for having me. It's an honor. I love coming on other people's podcasts because I don't have to deal with the stress of things. So this is great. But I mean, about me, I was born in Paris. Our family left Paris actually due to anti-Semitism. So we used to get swastikas on our door. And then my dad, after that happened a good year into it, he's just like, we got to get out of here. It's time. So we moved to Miami. And from there on, Jewish Moroccan family, raised in Miami, 3 older brothers, mom and dad, beautiful life growing up here. Went to college at the University of Miami here. I've always been in the hustle game. So think about people were hustling weed back in the day in their backpacks. I was selling earrings. So I was selling fashion in my backpack in high school. I just always loved making money. So not only did I have a passion and I had an eye for creativity, but I loved making money till this day. It's just like something I just love it. I don't know. It's very the New York in me,
Yeah, but you're not a New Yorker. So
I am not a New Yorker.
Interesting.
It's funny because anytime I introduce myself to someone, they're like, "Oh, you're from New York?" I'm like, "No."
You do give
So
New York girl
weird.
energy.
So weird.
You just don't find that hustle. You do find the hustle in Miami, but it's like a different level. Like I always say,
It's very different.
it's very different.
very
Like,
different.
New York, there is that known hustle. And
I think it's just more
grit.
real. I don't know how to explain it. Like we were just there for 10 days we came back last week, but it's just, I don't know. It's that like New York mentality. Like no one has like the fluff. Like here, it's easy to fake your life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not like that there.
So do you believe in fake it till you make it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And depends how, right? Depends how. Like when I say fake it till I make it, it was actually my first episode on my podcast. It's, to get my foot in the door. Sometimes I had to say names and drop names that I never absolutely worked with ever. But I had to do it in order to make it. Like I knew that would get my foot in the door. They're like, "Oh, you know this guy? All right, come through." And I was like, "All right, I got through the door." You know what I mean? You have to sometimes pivot or, come up with a little white lie to say, to just get your foot in the door.
Yeah, but there's a fine line, right, of getting your foot in the door, selling yourself, and then going above and beyond to do
Absolutely.
something schemy to get your foot in the door.
I mean, now there's fake it till you make it, and I don't know if they're trying to make it or just pretend they actually made it. Is like renting a car for $1,200 a month that they absolutely can't afford, and then they go home to a shoebox.
Right, you never know. Exactly.
That's Miami.
That's Miami. See, that's
the
scary.
difference. Then there's that New York where you push through that door so that no one's telling you no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Miami's
that difference.
I see that. I see that. Miami's just a little bit more superficial in that way. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
But a good place to grow up. I imagine
I love
living
it.
here, growing up here, coming from Paris. Like, what was that like coming here, and how old were you when you moved here?
I moved here when I was about 3.5. Listen, it wasn't always easy. I was that French girl, I didn't speak English, and then I learned Spanish before English and went to a Jewish school where girls were super jappy and I didn't have the Melissa shoes like everyone else. So it was like, oh, who's this French girl? And I'm going to be mean to her, So it's, we get that Jewish girl jappy thing too going on, which us Jewish ladies need to do better with that. And I think we are after October 7th, and we could talk about that after.
Ooh, yeah, let's talk about that.
I ended up going to public school. That was I don't know. I think that's where I feel I grew the most, and my personality became my personality because of public school. I was just so attracted to different cultures, different people, different colors, it just didn't matter who you were. It was about personality. And I got to open my horizons there. That's where I got the real Miami and the real hustle and the real, also just having different friend groups of like, these people have nothing, these people have more. And just that grounding and experience came from going to public school for me, for sure.
Yeah, and you're no longer like just with the jappy girls who
Exactly.
have all the brand names. Like you're on
Yeah, and I was
different
never
playing
like
fields.
I was just never like that. Like it's speaking on fashion, for me, it's not about how much the piece is, it's about how you make it look, how you bring that vision to life. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, high school was amazing. Went to college, went to Orlando for a semester, hated it, came back here, went to community college for a semester, and then went to University of Miami and loved it. Partied, had a really beautiful time. And then I lost my dad at 21. He was buried in Israel, and the love for Israel came from my father 1000%. And that's where my love for Israel just kept growing and growing, especially after his loss. The loss I had with him. Ended up studying abroad right before he passed at Tel Aviv University. It was best year of my entire life. Just had the best time ever. And then came back after his passing, and I was like, all right, I got to hustle. And that's where, when it rains, it pours. So we had, we lost our house. My brother fell into his own stuff. Then my other brother didn't know how to deal with it, and kind of felt like I had to like take on that role of like emotionally taking care. And then financially things started happening where it's like, okay, like, Sarah, here are your bills. Here's your $100,000 student loan debt. And here's everything else, like, figure it out.
Oh my gosh, that's such a huge responsibility at such a young age.
Yeah, at 21, yeah. It's kind of hit in the face when your parents took care of everything forever.
Right, and all of a sudden how are you supposed to deal with that and deal with your brothers? You're now
Correct.
like being the mother in a way, a mother figure. But I see that from you.
They would not say that. If
No.
you spoke to them, no, they would not say that. But I felt that. Everyone's experience is different, and how everyone feels it is so different. That's what I felt. I just felt like I had to take care of my mom emotionally. My parents were very much in love, and like, I felt like for a good 6 years, it was just me living for my mom to make sure she was good.
Yeah.
I felt like I took on that role. That was a really big role to play. And then life happened, got in a bunch of doors, made sure that I networked with the right people, lost a lot of friends along the way because they just didn't see the vision that I saw. And my vision was also very clear. It was, I need to help people. I don't want to just work every day. I need to help people. I know that I just have it in me to be able to be a mover and shaker in this community, to be able to say, okay, you have less than, how can I be a part of making you greater than?
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful, beautiful way of saying that.
Yeah.
And getting back to just your roots and kind of how your parents raised you, how were you raised, like when you came here, like especially growing up in Paris for a few years and going through that anti-Semitism, like do you remember those experiences of swastikas being drawn, or were you too young to even
No, I was
remember
definitely
that?
too young. Honestly, I have to say I had the most beautiful childhood. I always had everything that I needed, everything I wanted. I had a beautiful family, a very big family, lots of cousins. We're Moroccans, like there's a lot of us. But I had a beautiful childhood. I never felt anti-Semitism. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, in middle school, I would always get, oh, she's the Jewish girl. You got a lot of money because you're Jewish. That was always a thing. That was always my black crew. Like they would always be like, you're the Jew. And honestly, I didn't take it wrong. I was like, you know what?
You're like, let me
I got
own
a
it.
nice house. We're cool. We go through our ups and downs, but it's funny because we went through a lot of ups and downs in my family. It was we had a lot of money and then no money and nothing in the fridge. Kind of was like that. Yeah, we had a lot of those moments. So, you see this beautiful big house outside, but you never know what's going on inside. You know what I mean?
You were saying about the Miami
I never
people,
felt
right.
without. I never felt without. I think, again, it goes back to that hustle mentality where I was like, okay, we don't have it right now. I'm going to sell a pair of shoes. I'm going to get my girlfriends to come over and buy some clothes for me. Like, that's where it came from. Because I'm like, oh, my friends are going to New York this weekend. I can't afford it. I'm going to go return these shoes and see if I can get my cash back.
Yeah.
Like, it was that.
So you knew from
That
a
was
young
me,
age,
yeah.
like this is what I'm going to do. Like I need to make money. How can I do it quick?
Absolutely. And how do I not miss out?
Yeah.
I never missed out because I always figured it out.
You figured it out.
Yeah, I think when you have like helicopter parents, it's very easy for them to be like, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. But then you miss out on that opportunity to learn, okay, how do I hustle my way through this? How do I get there?
Totally. And how do you like find yourself if you're being fed everything your
Correct.
whole entire life?
Absolutely.
And then I feel like that definitely impacts your 20s, especially when you're just all of a sudden out of school.
That's
What
it.
are you supposed to do,
Your
right?
bills and figure
Here
it out.
you're an adult now all of a
Yeah.
sudden at 22 years old and
Yeah.
have been just, led through life by your parents this entire time. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was really simple. I got 2 jobs and started styling on the side. Worked for Plum TV, Plum Magazine, and styled Lindsay Lohan, and then ended up getting other gigs being a stylist assistant. Worked in a pizza shop and in a kosher restaurant. And then one day I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not being treated right, and this is not the life that I want. I just made that decision. I was like, I'm destined for greatness. That's where I'm going.
And you did it.
I did it.
And what did you do in that moment?
Well, it was a pivotal moment. I was working for a kosher restaurant, and the Israeli owner, who I won't mention, but I like telling this story because it's important. We got a new orange juice machine. And the orange juice machine was the ones where they slice it, and, you know, the automatic machine that makes fresh pressed orange juice.
Yes.
I had 12 of them in my hand, and I dropped all 12 on accident, except one. Sorry, I dropped 11. And the 12th one, like, I managed to kind of pick it up, and the owner was like, "You're so stupid, Saha. You're so stupid. You're so stupid." And I'm looking at this man, and I'm like, God, if he only knew. And then I started thinking, if my dad's watching me right now, my God, would he be disappointed? Because you never disrespect someone, especially your fellow Jews.
Yeah,
I think that's something to be learned from. And I like telling the story. That's why, especially for your Jewish audience, that remember to take care of your people and to respect your people, but especially remember to take care of the people that are not Jewish. And there's a rabbi that told me when I started AWOM, he goes, "Is it for Jewish people?" I said, "No." He said, "Stop it right now. It's not for Jewish people. It's not good." And for me, another pivotal moment. Don't listen to everyone.
Yeah.
Don't listen to your rabbi. He may not be the best one. You know what I'm saying? Help the other ones, because now in the situation that we're in, especially after October 7th, those people remember me as their Jewish mama. Those kids, all my kids from AWOM Girls Club, I'm their Jewish mama. I was a good person to them.
It's really interesting that you bring that up, because we were just talking before we started recording here about how, you know, the reason I started this podcast in the first place was about side hustle culture. And it's now, like we said, pivoted to exploring and sharing stories from Jewish people in my life who are doing really, really fucking cool shit. But I think in the last few years since October 7th, right, it's really easy to just stick with our community and do everything by the Jews, which, like you said, is so important. But how do we go from, you know, obviously looking by and looking out for one another while also being inclusive of others? And that's really difficult.
It's hard to do because we don't feel that they're including us.
Right.
We feel everyone hates us. So we're like, stick with each other and we got this. And, you know, in Jewish history, that's how we've done it, right? That's how we've come up, by sticking together. But I think in this new era, we have the choice to try a little harder and to be a part of more communities and to speak up. And we have social media to be able to have conversations. And I think that's why it's a letdown, right? Because you're like, damn, they all hate us already. Like, what's the point? But if you could get through to one person and then they have kids, it's a domino effect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's something I try to do too with hosting Shabbat dinners in Miami. That's something I've really found a passion in and gotten involved in. There's actually a club in New York called Friday Tables. Started there. We brought it down to Miami. I'm now leading it here. And a goal of mine is to bring at least one non-Jewish friend each week to Shabbat dinner. Just expose them to our culture, because
and they see how beautiful it is.
Beautiful.
We have the
it's
most
so inclusive.
Beautiful culture ever.
We do. And
we really do.
And we are so lucky. I was at a concert last week during Miami Music Week with a non-Jewish friend. And he was like, "Where do you meet people?" And then he's like, "Wait, never mind. You're Jewish. You have your community." I'm so jealous that you have that, because I go to Brickell Run Club. I go to all these things, but I don't know where to connect with people.
Wow.
And it's what we have is so special.
We automatically connect.
We automatically
you say
have
you're Jewish,
something
or we
in
see
common
that
with
little
someone.
necklace that everyone's wearing for bring them home, and you're like, we're right here.
Right.
So yeah,
and it really is so powerful. It's so beautiful, and I just think it's something we cannot forget, where we come from, because it is who we are, and we're fucking awesome people, and let's show each other who we are.
We're so open, you know,
so open.
You'll invite a non-Jew to your table. Growing up for us, that was a non-negotiable. We had all my brother's Haitian friends, all my dad's Haitian friends. We were, you know, our table was open to everybody, and I think that is why they'll never forget us. You know, they'll never forget us for that, being that family that welcomed them to our table.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is something that I'm personally trying to do a lot more of, but it's difficult too. Like you said, we haven't been included. We felt excluded the last few years. We feel like everyone hates us.
But we can't do it from that place. I just learned this in therapy on Monday. You can't do it from the place of saying, okay, they didn't do it, so we shouldn't.
Right.
We should do it because it's who we are. It's ingrained in our culture. It's literally who we are. Is to be giving, is to be open, is to be it's to include everybody.
Yeah. And
there's
and
always
to
a
build
seat
the
at the table.
community. Yeah. And extend that to others. So no, it's difficult, but something to put into practice.
Totally.
Easier said than done, of course.
Yes.
But no, I really like appreciate you sharing that perspective and just being a community builder. I think that's what's so special about you. So can you share a little bit more about the is it AWOM, the organization you started?
Yeah, so AWOM stands for Angel Watching Over Me. I started it after I lost my dad and started support groups for people who lost a loved one. I just started meeting up with people at Starbucks, honestly. Social media just started. Instagram had just started, and I started hashtagging Angel Watching Over Me. And everyone's like, oh, this is my angel. This is my angel. This is my angel. And I was just like, okay, like, do you want to meet up? I was so busy taking care of everyone else, I forgot to take care of myself. So years later, it started, creeping up on me, the sadness, the grief, the everything else, because I was too busy trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to build my life? How am I going to do this? So I started AWOM that way, and then I have had an amazing therapist come on board because she heard about what we were doing. And she's like, I'll be the therapist on board free of charge. Jel Toledo, who's still my therapist till this day. 8 years of a beautiful support group, a huge family that we built of just grieving together. Free support group. We had dinner provided, everything provided. And then I would say about 3 years after I started support group, AWOM Girls Club kind of like fell in my hands. There was a mother-daughter tea party, and I ended up helping the school make it this huge fashion show for the girls. And these are underprivileged girls. These are girls that don't have mothers to teach them right from wrong and tell them, what looks good, what doesn't. And once I met these kids, I was like, wow, there's got to be something else I can do here. Like these kids need me, Each one of the girls would come up and say their testimonies. One in particular from Haiti. I have a very strong connection to Haiti because my father worked there and all his best friends were Haitian. And she said, for the first time in my life today, I felt beautiful. She said, I've been Baker acted 5 times. I tried committing suicide 10. And today, Miss Sarah made me feel beautiful. And she called me Miss Sarah. I had never met these kids before, 75 girls. And all these little girls started going up there and saying their testimony. These are like 10, 11, 12-year-olds, okay? One's like this little chubby girl with little, now I'm thinking in French, sorry, but little, what are they called? Freckles. And she's like, all the girls that bullied me today helped me get dressed. And it was just like beautiful, and just more and more and more of those. And I went up to the principal. I go, I know you don't know me, but what can I do? And she goes, I have no idea. So I just started showing up Fridays before Shabbat. I said, I'm not going to work on Fridays anymore. I'm just going to start showing up to this school. See if anyone remembers me. I showed up first Friday. Principal goes, what are you doing here? I'm like, you told me to just show up. So here I am. Can I go to the lunchroom, see if the girls remember me? I don't know. I'll just sit there. Everyone remembered me. Miss Sarah, Miss Sarah, Miss Sarah. My tables were full every Friday. So then I built the room. I built the AWOM Girls Club room full of, extra pads if the girls needed it, extra folders, binders, extra clothing in case they needed it, food bars, waters, just whatever they needed to in order to be successful. A lot of these kids, they're on welfare. Like they can't afford lunch. You know what I'm saying? So anything they needed to be successful was in that room. It was a safe space.
They must have absolutely
8 years of that. 8 years of that. And then followed them to high school, and now they're all graduated, and most of them are coming to my wedding.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a beautiful
They're my
story.
Kids. They're my kids, yeah. A lot of them, their moms were on drugs and, couldn't go home and feel comfortable. So I'd pick them up off the streets and take them home with me, and I'd do their laundry, and I'd take them to school the next day.
That's, first of all, mazel tov on the wedding, first and foremost. And that's amazing that these girls will all be there. Like such a lovely, like full circle moment for you. Yeah. So speaking of that, and just like, I feel like you give off very motherly energy. And like you said, like when your father passed, like you were that figure for them, even though if your brothers, maybe they wouldn't say that.
Differ that, yeah.
But obviously, even with these girls, like you've been a motherly figure to them. Mm-hmm. How has that, side of you impacted even like your dating life prior to meeting, who today is your current fiance?
That is so funny that you say this. I would say, I think that I like to control a lot of things just because I don't like not knowing. You know what I mean? Because it has happened where here's your life. Everything's falling apart. What are you going to do now? So I've tried to control, and I've done a really good job at that. So when it comes to partners, I mean, I'm 2 years old. I'm turning 33. Like I've been through a lot, you know?
And can we just say one thing really quick? Because I do know
Yes.
your fiance,
Yeah.
he's younger.
He's younger. He's 4 years younger than me. He's 28. Yeah, he's 28.
Okay.
He's amazing. I love that he's younger than me, but that motherly instinct definitely comes through. He's always like, "Oh, I'm marrying my mom." I'm like, "You're welcome." First of all, his mom is the coolest person in the whole world.
You're like, that's the
So
best
I'm so
compliment
lucky.
ever. Yeah.
But it's true that like dating life wise, I always thought I needed a macho man. So I dated the wrong men, right? And then I dated a lot of sissy men because I was like, "Oh, I can take care of them."
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm talking to you right now. I don't know. You're looking at me like, yeah.
No, I'm like, this is me.
I know, yeah. So it's like, oh, I can fix them. I can help them. I can make them grow. And then it's like, here I am doing, who's going to do that for me? Like, no more. And then I got into a really, really bad relationship right before meeting Adam. And narcissist, horrible, beautiful, but horrible.
You're literally me.
Yeah,
anyway, I'll
beautiful
let you
but
continue.
horrible.
Yeah.
And he was just, I got sick because of it. No, actually sick. My body completely depleted. Couldn't work out anymore. My legs were not working properly. Very weird. Like took over my
that happens.
body and soul. Yeah. And he would talk about the evil eye a lot. And like, I was just like, I think you are the evil eye. Like, get away from me, you know? But that's when like someone thinks they could take advantage of you and take your light. Another important thing about Jewish people, no one can actually ever take away your light. Only you can do that yourself. But I fell into a really bad depression. Thank God I got out of it. Literally had 2 abortions with this man because I knew he proposed and I was just like, I have the video. It's so scary how I looked. It was just like, no, you know, like I know it's not for me. And you know, but you tend to go back to these things. Like it's just, you got to know your worth. I think there's moments in life where like everyone's like, Sarah, you're so amazing. You know, you say all these people told me, you know, and then you go home and you're like, but you look in the mirror. Are you so amazing? Do you believe that you're so amazing? You have to believe it. Because then people can come in and just like play with your energy, you know?
Yeah. No. So that's.
I hope that answered the question.
No,
Instincts.
you answered the question for sure. Yeah.
And then what happens? When you go into life saying, fuck everything, I'm doing this like for me. No one's touching me. And I only became this way because of what happened to me with that relationship.
Right.
Right? A month and a half later, met Adam.
Yeah.
In Israel. And I was like, best one night stand ever. Never talking to this little cute kid again. And here he is becoming my husband. And he's soft and he's kind. And you know, a lot of people tell you like, marry the nice guy. They're so right. Marry the good guy. Marry the good person. The rest is such fluff. You know, the macho man that I thought I needed, it's not. I am the macho man. Right. That's the truth. Right. I am the macho man. I don't need 2 of them.
Absolutely.
You know?
I mean, that's why I was so curious. I'm like, you are such a strong figure. Like, you can't have 2 of them, right?
You can't.
That can be really
it's
toxic.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Yeah. So, I mean, but as you just said that, right? Like, you wouldn't be here without these horrible experiences. So unfortunately, like it sucks that you had to go through that and your body went through what it went through. But to get to where you are today, I'm sure you're just over the moon.
I'm so grateful. Yeah. I am so, for what happened to my body, how it depleted. I mean, I'm telling you, doctors every 2 days, like no one could figure out what was wrong with me.
It was just the stress of this horrible relationship.
Stress.
Yeah.
Stress. It really happens, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's funny, I talk about it and I get those same pains again. It's really weird. It's a really weird sensation. And to say that, like, I don't know, like life is so beautiful. Like you're more grateful after. I'm like, my body gets to work today. Like I get to walk normally today. Like I get to see things clearly today. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because of those experiences.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I say your struggle's your superpower. Depends how you use it.
So I guess like after going through something so traumatic like that, what ended up leading you to end this relationship?
God, it took a long time. It was like 2 years of going back and forth. He didn't even live here. It was just back and forth. And then what happened?
Like, what was the breaking point for you? And the reason I asked is because, you know,
I got really sick. I got really sick, but then I got sick with a flu. So I was in bed for 2 months. Like my body was, I'm telling you. And I moved, here's the story. I moved back in with my mom.
And how old were you at the time?
I was 30 years old,
oh
moving back in with my mother in her apartment, okay? I've been living on my own since 21 years old, paying my own bills. I said, Mom, I would look out a building like this where I lived, and I'd be like, I don't want to be here anymore. And that's when I knew, I said, I can't be alone. It wasn't me. It's like something was taking over my body. And I was like, I'm afraid of what I could do to myself. I need to go ask for help. Again, going home to your mom who's, you know, strong, independent woman. And like, she's like, oh, you'll be fine tomorrow. Like, no, like I was not fine. I was in therapy. I was trying really hard not to go on medication for it. And I didn't. I just knew I had to go through it. I had to just keep pushing, you know?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I was like, no, like this guy will take over me. But it took him coming here and saying he was going to move here, me moving back to my old apartment. And it was one morning, I was in the shower. I played music. He was fighting with me for no reason, as he did every single day. And I was playing music. I said, Sarah, today's going to be a good day because you're going to make it a good day. That's literally was my mindset. I'll never forget this day. It was a beautiful day outside. And I put music on. And he was sleeping in the room. First of all, no man should be fucking sleeping. Go to fucking work before I do, okay? I'm playing the music and all of a sudden I hear bang, bang, bang on the door. I thought something had happened. I was terrified. I opened the door. The door's completely broken on the outside of it. And he goes, you're playing music because it da-da-da-da. Starts screaming in my face, like spitting, like angry with veins. And I'm just looking at this man. And weirdly, I'm seeing him, but I feel like I was seeing myself. And I was like, this is so over. He's screaming at me and all I could do was smile. I could smile. Like I chose that day to be greater. And I smiled and I'm like, pack your shit and get out. Just like that. Wow. He didn't have anywhere to go. I did not care. I was not his savior. I was not. Because I kept thinking, oh, I could help him. I could fix him. I can make him better. I can make him softer. He wasn't bringing anything to the table for me. I was paying the bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's another thing, you know? But that moment, it was just over. It was over.
It's just so many women go through this and think that before the age of 30, we need to have it all figured out.
No, not true. Yeah. And even if I wasn't getting married to Adam, I would still be the happiest person ever right now. I tell Adam this all the time. I love him. But if he left me tomorrow, I would be 100% fine.
Yeah.
Because of my experience. You should never be so attached to someone that they could make you sick or sad or any. Life's way too short for that. Way too short. You need to make yourself happy. Yeah. 100%. I adore him. I love him. I would do anything for him. But it's not the end all be all for me.
Right.
You
You're
know?
not dependent
Absolutely
on this man
not.
in any sort of capacity.
No.
Yeah.
And he would love me to be. Yeah. But I am not.
And you will never
Which
be,
makes
Sarah.
him love me more.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta chase you. It's like that chase a little bit.
Absolutely. And it
you
will
need to
be
have
forever.
That, like some part of the insecurity from him. The guy has to love you a little bit more. I
couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
Like it never works if it's the opposite.
No, it
right?
just doesn't.
It doesn't.
It just doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
So, well, I really appreciate you sharing about your relationship status, because that is a lot and your experiences are a lot. But I think it's so important to talk about these things because as women, we think that there's this timeline and this, we do have a biological clock, right? We do.
Do we though? Like my cousin's 42. She just had a baby on accident.
Yeah. So this is the thing. You hear these stories, right? Of like, I'm 38 years old and randomly just had a baby. So you're right. Listen, maybe there really isn't a biological
just enjoy
clock.
your life. And the second you stop thinking about it and looking for it is when it comes. I swear.
I hate when people say that, but it's true.
But it's look at Adam. Like, no idea. Like, we were in Shavata in Israel. Like,
Shavata,
I'm like, you know what? Here I go. I'm going to hook up with this cute little, my tan Justin Bieber guy, you know? Like,
you know, so go for younger men. How has it been? Like, what do you say about, like, would you ever have thought you'd be with a younger man?
So in high school, I actually dated someone a year younger. But someone 4 years younger, no, because I always thought I wanted this, like, whatever man. But I never looked at that. I weirdly never, for me, it was never about, like, the hottest guy or the tallest guy it was always personality.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Age was definitely a thing in the beginning. I'm like, oh, he looks so young too. Like, people are, like, always saying, oh, like, you really went for the youngest one. And I'm like, yeah, like, whatever. F you, who cares, you know? Yeah. But it got to me till it didn't, till I was like, you know what? You design your own life. You literally design your own life. Like Adam, I drew him like this and I made him dress like this and I did it, you know? Like, and we get to guide each other. But the truth is he is such a wonderful person in the sense that he accepts me in every way that I am. And he's soft and kind and understands me for who I am. So age kind of like just didn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I know it's interesting because people always say like, oh, younger men aren't mature, but then you find these hidden gems and sometimes you just never know.
But they're not. They're not mature.
They're not mature. Okay.
No, you have to actually accept that part too. Like, I have to give him grace. He didn't go through everything I went through. I have 4 years on him.
Yeah, that is a
lot happened between 28 and 33 for me. A lot.
Right.
28, I was breaking up with another guy, meeting this French dude, and like, then all the rest of this shit happened within those 2 years. So like, I have to give him that grace too.
Right. Also, so much can happen, like you said, in just a year or even a few months. Like those experiences, you can't compare sometimes, even if it's just 4 years. Like it is a lot of years. So, well, I want to talk a little bit more just about, being Jewish and being a celebrity stylist, because getting into that world as a Jewish woman can be really difficult, I imagine, not working primarily with Jewish clients as well. So I'm just curious, like, how that's been for you.
I mean, it's been beautiful. I've had the most amazing clients. I mean, it was never about my religion. It was about my work and, what I brought to the table and my personality. I'm very like giving and open with my clients, and I think they appreciate that very much. And, I work mostly in the Latin industry, and what they say is a tu orden. A tu orden means like I'm at your service. So my clients that are like the biggest Latin artists in the world are saying I'm at your service. So it's really about, and trust me, it took me a long time. I used to be in the urban industry working Young Thug, Little Uzi Vert, all these Kodak Black, like the worst people I could have ever worked for. And then I fell into the Latin industry on accident, and it's just been beautiful. So it was never about my religion. I love being Jewish now because I actually teach my clients. A lot of them say, oh, so you're from Palestine. I'm like, no, from Israel. Yeah. Like, you need to look that up. And they've made that mistake countless times. And they say, oh, but I see online, da-da-da. I'm like, no, let me explain to you. And then I send them stuff all day long. And they appreciate it.
No, that's really beautiful so that you can be that open? Educator
Absolutely,
for them. Yeah, too.
Absolutely. And I've lost a lot of clients. So after October 7th, like I mentioned, I went full throttle. How do I help Israel? I can't, I mean, I think everyone in the Jewish community felt this. We were disheveled. And it wasn't something you get over tomorrow. This is something like, here we are still hurting and watching and waiting for these hostages to come home. Like every day we're just trying to be the best that we can. And even navigating now, it's like, damn, I don't post about them enough because I want to get back to reality and making money and being able to afford my wedding, like here I am paying for it all. So it's like, it's a lot. And then you're also like guilty because you're like, they're still over there and we're Jewish and we need to stick together. So it's, work-wise, Judaism was never a problem. I did feel that from October 7th till about February, I think my heart wasn't in it, so I wasn't getting jobs. I was not getting jobs, and I was very open. If anybody follows me, it was about being Jewish right now and how do you help Israel now, So, yeah, I probably could have lost a lot of jobs from that, for sure.
That too. Yeah. And were there any particular experiences where you felt ever unsafe?
Like I told you before, got a death threat. I know exactly who it came from, and it was a letter talking about how they're going to kill me and for being Jewish and da-da-da, and watch my back. And I definitely did watch my back, but you know what? I was never afraid. I was like, you know what? Come after me. I'm Jewish, and I have Hashem is protecting me to the Most High, and I have my dad, and I have my aunt up there. Like, no one can touch me.
Yeah.
My mom always says, your last name is so strong, don't forget who you are. So I feel protected, And I'm like, and if that's how I'm meant to go because I'm Jewish, let that never be forgotten.
Yeah, then so be it. Yeah. No, I respect that immensely. But it's very, very difficult when you're in the public eye like this.
Absolutely. And I'm this big in the public eye. Like, I know, my influencer friends, I spoke about this with my dear friend Valeria. We just spoke on a panel for Magen David Adom, and she has millions of followers, and she's like, I can only share a little bit and I already get backlash. She just shares that she puts Shabbat candles, but she has 3 kids to be careful for and a husband and a home. Like, people know a lot about her life. But she still shares in the little ways that she can. And I say it's okay because those lights that you light up in front of everyone and teach, you're lighting up our life because you're reminding us Jews that we know you're with us. And that's enough. So before, I would judge people. Be like, you're huge influencer.
Yeah, like,
why aren't you sharing?
Why aren't you posting?
It hurt me. It's like, come on, like, we need you, And now I'm beginning to understand. it's how you do it. And guess what? Even if you did share that way, you just got backlash for people that will never understand regardless. They just won't. They don't get it. Just like you said about your friends, like that you lost, because they're just never going to get you.
No.
They're not.
But it's so crazy. Like we are like you're Moroccan, right?
I'm an Arab.
You're exactly
literally an Arab.
You are an Arab.
I'm from Africa.
Yeah. And I always think about this as of recently too. And I was telling you before we started here, like I went to a liberal arts college. A lot of my friends in my sorority were just, white girls from all over the United States. But the one person I really connected with was a Muslim Lebanese girl. And she was my best friend.
I grew up with Arabs my whole life.
And now October 7th happens. And
she's not your friend anymore.
Right. And how does that happen?
It's really sad. It's just sad. It's sad because they're so wrong. And I have no problem with saying that. They're just wrong. You know what I mean? Like, the moment that Palestinians and all of these people love their children more than they hate us, and I heard this quote, that's how
there's peace.
That's how there's peace.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. So it's like they're just so wrong. I don't know how else to say it. I mean,
it's just hard because you can agree to disagree with people, and you should have conversations with people of the other side.
Absolutely.
And we can't just go cold turkey and just hide with the Jews, right? And they can't just go hide with their own community. Like, let's have conversations, and we have conversations, right?
It's difficult. It's really difficult. I have one Palestinian friend, and I can honestly say I'm still friends with her.
That's great. That's really great.
She shares things with me every day, and I'm like, God, this is so, how can you even see this? And then I backlash and send her other videos, and I'm like, this is what I'm seeing on my end, though. Like, do you see how crazy this is? And sometimes she'll be like, no, you're so wrong. And sometimes I'll be like, no, and then sometimes we're like, damn, is this really the media? So sometimes we'll like align.
You'll meet in the middle, right?
Yeah, but
right.
she's Palestinian. She's seeing on her side these poor kids dying on the streets asking for, but on my side, I see the background cameras of them putting the makeup on that same kid. And she's like, that's a lie. I'm like, here's the video. What are you talking about? Right. It's right here, but she refuses to see it because she doesn't want to be wrong.
Of course, no one wants to be wrong.
No, because those are my
those
people.
Are her people. These are your exactly.
When I see, and I'll say it out loud. When I see an IDF soldier peeing on a dead body of a Palestinian, I'm like, that's wrong. That's wrong. You can't do that. But that's not how we Jews think. We're like, that fucking guy killed a bunch of kids and da-da-da-da. It's still wrong. We still have to like navigate that and say, okay, there's right from wrong. We're not those people. I don't want to be represented by those people.
Right.
And
no one's perfect on either side.
No one's perfect. 100%.
No one is ever perfect, but it's just difficult when you're making all these assumptions about one specific group of people in general, right? Correct. To say that like the IDF as a whole is corrupt, for example.
That is crazy to me. I mean, they're the most beautiful kids in the world fighting for feel us right now.
So like, safe when we go to Israel.
What do
because
you mean
of
the safest?
This army.
These are 18-year-old kids that are fighting for us right now.
Right.
Yeah, like no.
Yeah.
For me, it's just crazy. You think they want to be there?
No.
Think they want to do this to
They could be
kids?
going to college. Like we're going to college at 18. They're going to the army.
They don't. It's for me. It's just like, yeah, like I said, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong about us. Have a conversation with us, and I'll show you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want you to leave the listeners with like one piece of advice or something that you've learned as a 32-year-old woman in the last, let's say, year.
In the last year, what I've learned. I'll tell you the best right now. Let them. Have you heard this?
The Let Them Theory, my favorite book right now. Yep.
I've been going through so much ups and downs, whether it's family, whether it's the media, whether it's this, whether it's figuring myself out. Just let them and let yourself be you, Let everyone be who they are. Stop stressing about everybody else's stuff. Focus on yourself.
So hard to do.
So hard, but the second you do it, and I've done it, it's going to be like a month and a half now of me really letting them, allowing everyone else be who they are and focusing on myself. And I'm telling you, it's been a drastic and the most pivotal change of my life.
No, that's a great feeling to just lose the control.
Yes.
As a control freak myself.
As a fellow type A, I'm looking at like, oh my God, that's harder.
It is so hard to lose that control. But let them. Mel Robbins,
she's amazing.
It is just so simple, this theory, but it's so difficult to put into practice.
It is, but you know, this, like I said, the second you just start, you're like, you catch yourself in your moment and you're about to react and you're like, you know what?
Pause.
Let them. Pause, what a pleasure.
Pause with a
You know
pleasure.
about
I like
this?
that.
Yes,
Yes.
like pause, what a pleasure. Like, it's all good. It's all good. It's not going to change your life, you know?
Yeah. Don't let it
Only
get to you.
you can do that.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here,
thank you
Sarah.
for
It was really
having
great to
me.
chat with you.
Yeah, thanks.
Where can people find
This
you?
is awesome. You can follow me on socials at Akiba, or, I mean, however, you want me to give you my
Maybe
phone
come
number?
find you at the Spaces.
At the Spaces, book the Spaces, absolutely, which is an amazing, you know, it's a space where everyone can bring their vision to life. So you can definitely check us out there as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.